Good morning, and as most of you already know, my name is Ron Leach. I am a retired Army medical officer, nationally certified physician assistant, a part-time farmer, a former high school vocational agriculture teacher, and very proud father and grandfather. Yes, it's true. But I'm also, with your support, a candidate for the privilege of serving our communities in the United States Congress. For 29 years, I've served our country in uniform, both as an enlisted soldier and as an officer. And over those many years, there's many times, John, you know this very well, that we have served to help other nations have the chance for the functional democracy that we here in the United States hold so dear and count on. But while I served in Iraq and Afghanistan, something seems to have changed here at home. A spirit of service to our nation has given way to a spirit of selfishness, where political ambitions trump the public good, and where our working families take a back seat to the people writing the biggest checks. I see Kentuckians, our friends, neighbors, working two jobs, yet still falling behind. I see friends and neighbors having to sell land that has been in family farms for generations simply to pay for medical care or make ends meet. And I see our brothers and sisters in arms coming back from war and having to wait for the care they need when they return. This needs to end. Yet the only thing that Washington, D.C. seems to be interested in, as you all have observed, is partisan bickering and scoring cheap political points. This is no way to govern. There was a time in our country when, as you all probably recall, hard work was rewarded. We kept our promises to seniors by protecting and strengthening Social Security and Medicare. And we provided our children with a quality public education so that every child from every background would have the chance to succeed. And we had leaders. Yes, we actually had leaders who helped create jobs, helped build and strengthen a middle class while building interstates, dams, and bridges that were the envy of the world. We need to return to that America. I grew up on a small farm, a family farm, not far from a town of about 1,200 folks. A typical small rural community, much like what many of you may have come from. A town that was connected to the land, connected to agriculture, and tied to the success of family farms and local businesses. We had a local clothing store, a local owned and operated bank. We had our Chevy dealer, grain elevators, farm supplies, two tractor and implement dealers, both John Deere and Massey Ferguson. Our businesses were local. Our community was strong and proud. When my parents bought their farm, they approached the local owned and operated community bank. The bank president in 1975 personally executed the loan for my parents' home and farm, having no doubt that a young working age couple would be able to earn the wage necessary to meet their mortgage obligations. My parents still own that farm, and now in their 70s, still work on it daily. Well, a lot has changed in the nearly 40 years since my parents bought their farm. Our new car dealership is gone. The tractor and implement dealers are gone. The locally owned bank that understood the needs of our community has now been replaced by an out-of-touch mega bank with no direct ties to our community. The hardware store, the clothing store, the local grocery, all the mainstays of a strong community, of a community with opportunity, as you probably have guessed, have now closed. The playing field now favors corporate big box stores, corporate mega farms feeding from the trough of taxpayer subsidies, and a young person today is less likely to even be able to earn a living wage, let alone carry a home loan, a farm loan. The people in Washington have forgotten the communities we come from. They have forgotten the people back here at home who are unemployed, underemployed, underpaid, and quite honestly just fed up. I think my neighbors, like me, and most of you, are tired of getting the same thing over and over again from Washington. We are tired of the arguments that divide us as a nation into two camps. If politicians want to talk about left versus right, fine. Let's talk about the majority of Kentuckians being left behind and what is right for working families. I could easily spend the rest of my days, assuming my wife Kelly would let me, working my small farm, restoring old farmhouse, my old tractors, fishing with my kids and grandkids. The best fisherman in the bunch is right there, Victoria. But I see our district needing true representation and a functional government that works for all of us. I'm not interested in voting party line. We've seen too much of that. What I'm interested in is making sure the government works for everyone, ensuring that our economy creates good jobs that keep our families from falling out of the middle class, while providing opportunities for a rising and growing middle class. We've done it before. We can do it again. It's a matter of priorities. It's a matter of focus. I'm interested in making certain our public schools can provide the quality education for every child, and our parents never have to choose between their groceries and their medications. And I'm interested in guaranteeing that our men and women in uniform are cared for before, during, and after their service is complete. But I can't do it alone. I need your help. If we go out and we knock on doors throughout our communities, if we engage people in conversations about how we can make government work again, if we insist that working families must have a real voice in Congress, we can make a difference. And we can push back against those who say it's every man for himself and return to the spirit of our Kentucky Commonwealth. I will travel the miles. Any of you who have been following our campaign so far know this. I will listen to you and our fellow Kentuckians. I promise that I will run a campaign that my family, friends, and all of Kentucky can be proud of. And I will be a representative that the 2nd U.S. Congressional District can be proud of. If you will stand with me, if you will fight with me and help me with the work that lies ahead of us, we can restore the spirit of service to Washington and get America's government working again for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I know, and I know that you know, we are better than the last several years of gridlock and partisanship. We are better than an ideology that urges us to abandon our commitments to one another. Government can work. Government must work. Let's start governing again. Thank you very much.